Welcome back, guys. So in this lesson, we're talking about averages. I know you know what averages are, but I wanted to give you some practice on SAT type averages. So we're going to jump right into the questions here. The first average question that you'll find in your College Board, your official College Board study guide, is in test number 3. So let's turn to test number 3, section 2, number 11. Section 2, number 11. Okay, so here it is. So if you don't have this book, that's okay. You know, I have the questions up here. But if you do have your book with you, then please go ahead and follow along so you can take some notes in there. Number 11 says, if the average, again, it's an average question, so an average, which is also called the arithmetic mean. Okay, there's no difference between the two. Whenever they say arithmetic mean, it means average. Whenever they say average, they mean the arithmetic mean. Okay. So they are synonymous. If the average of the following numbers, 3, S, and T, so they give us 3 different numbers, and they tell us that the average of these 3 numbers is 5. What is the value of S plus T? So, very similarly to the last lesson that you guys had on parity, on even-odd questions, one way to handle those was to plug in some numbers, okay, which works greatly for those questions. And plugging in numbers also works really well for these kind of questions too, many average questions. So feel free to try those out, see if you can plug in some numbers and get the same answers as I do. The point of this video, though, is to teach you some of the rules, once again, just like the parity lesson that we did before. So in this one, we have the average of 3, S, and T. Whenever they ask you about an average, what's the first thing that you do? The first thing you do is add everything up, right? Whenever you're trying to find the average, you add everything up, and then you divide by what? The number of items that you have, okay? And that gives you your average. So since they're talking about average, let's see if we can do that. They want the average of 3, S, and T, which means they want the average of 3, S, and T. And how do you get the average? You add them up and you divide by the number of items you have, which is 3. Now they say that the average of these guys is 5. So is equal sign 5. So that first statement right there, that's exactly what this says. Okay? So if you can take accurate notes like this throughout the SAT, then you don't ever have to reread any of the stuff that you read before. Okay? And rereading does waste a lot of time. Hopefully you get into the habit of writing some good notes in. Okay? And I'll try to help you do that throughout this lesson as well. What is the value of S plus T? Well, where is S plus T? I don't need S, I don't need T, I just need S plus T right there. Get that by itself is what they're asking you to do. What's the first thing I do? I can't do anything with that 3 yet, because in any fraction, right, there's always this implied grouping symbol, which means you have to do everything here first. You can't separate one of the items out unless you're out of that fraction 4, okay? So what I can do to both sides right now is to multiply by 3 on both sides so that these guys cancel out, okay? So what I have left is the top there, 3 plus S plus T is equal to 15. And to find S plus T, which is exactly what they're asking me for, all I need to do is to subtract the 3 from both sides. Those go away. I have S plus T left here, and that equals 12. So 12 will be the correct answer for number 11. Okay? Let's try another one. Let's go to section 5, number 1. Section 5, number 1. All right, so with Fred, Norman, and Dave own a total of 128 comic books, right? So 3 people own a total of 128. Dave owns 44 of them, so D right here is just 44. I'm going to replace it with 44. What is the average number of comic books owned by Fred and Norman? The average number of comic books owned by Fred and Norman. We know that Fred plus Norman plus Dave, which is given as 44, right? If we add up all their comic books, they have a total of 128. That's what that says, right? And of course, we can simplify this, can't we? Right? By subtracting 44 on both sides, right? We would have a f here, an n here. Those will cancel out, is equal to, if we do that, that's a 4, right? 12 minus that's 8. So we have 84. And what are they asking for? What is the average number of comic books? The average of what? Fred and Norman is what they're asking for, right? Average of Fred and Norman. So how do you find an average for Fred and Norman? Well, you add Fred plus Norman, and you divide it by 2, right? So this is what they're looking for. Do I have something close? Yeah, I have f plus n right there, right? So all I need to do is what? If I can get the over 2 into this equation, I'm done. So that's what I do. I divide both sides by 2 so that it looks just like this. And so my answer is going to be this guy. So if you simplify that, of course you get 42a will be the correct answer for number 1. And there are many ways to do a question like this, especially because number 1 is a very simple question. If something else makes sense to you, great. But again, my point in this lesson is to show you kind of the rules that you might be able to use throughout all sorts of average type questions throughout the SAT. Okay, let's move on to test number 5. If you can all flip to test 5 with me. Test 5, section 2, number 18. Test 5, section 2, number 18. Let's check this one out. If the average, again, arithmetic mean is the same thing as average. If the average of x and y is k, how do we take notes on this first statement? The average of what? X and y. How do we write the average of x and y? It's x plus the y divided by the number of items, 2, right? And that is the average of x and y. So this part I already wrote. And that is the equal sign. So I got that. K is equal to k. So all that I got. Which of the following, so which of these, is the average of x, y, and z? They want x, y, and z. So how do you find the average of x, y, z? What are they looking for? The average of x, y, z means, how do you find the average of 3 numbers? You add them up, right? The x plus the y plus the z, and then what do you do with these numbers to find the average? You divide by the number of items you have. So when they ask for this question, which of the following is the average of x, y, and z? This is your average of x, y, and z. Therefore, this is what you are looking for. Okay? Again, you can plug in some numbers here, and this becomes a very simple problem, even though it's a number 18 towards the end of the section. So it's meant to be a little harder, but if you plug in, it's a very simple question. So try that. But again, using some of the rules, and I'm just trying to be a little more consistent to teach you guys the same thing on all of these type of problems. How do we get from here to here? Well, first of all, we need to rearrange this a little bit, make it a little easier to read, which means I might multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of that guy. I get x plus y is equal to 2k. Okay? And there's not much more I can do with that. Okay? So I'm just going to leave that. Maybe I'll box it just so I can come back to it in case I have other work to do. But I don't really have anything else given. So I go directly to what's being asked. I don't know what x is. I don't know what y is. I don't know what z is. But I do know what x plus y is, right? And that is right there. So what can I do? If I know what x plus y is, I can just take whatever it equals and stick it in. Substitute, right? So what is that equal to? X plus y, same thing as 2k. Therefore, 2k plus that z over 3 would be my average. And is that among the answer choices? 2k plus z over 3, yep, a will be the correct answer to number 18. Again, that's just one way to do it. There are several other ways to do it. One of which, a great way, of course, would be to plug in, like I said before. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a break. We just did 3 questions. Hopefully that helped a lot already. I do want you to try the following questions before you see the next video. we're going to work on test number 6, section 4, number 3, and section 8, number 11. And in test number 7, we're going to work on section 7, number 6. So once you have those 3 done, join me in the next video.